It's amazing. I have at least 3 different digital clocks here, including my computer. All 3 have like different times for some reason. I'm not sure if that's helpful at all.
Different time zones.
They're all supposed to be synced into some atomic clock in Colorado. I'm not sure what went wrong. Something's not right here. Good. Okay, well, it's about 7:05. I'll split the difference here between my 2 time sources and call it 7:05. Thank you all for coming to this meeting of the Historic Preservation Committee. Maureen, could you read the open public meeting notice?
I just need 1 second.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought we were live. My bad.
It says it, but it's waiting for me to go onto our Wyckoff website.
Ah, okay. Because I say a little live button on the top here.
Yeah, it does. Give me 1 second. Sorry.
That's okay. No problem.
Oops.
I'm used to not being listened to the first time.
What?
Careful, Richard. I know you're biting at the bit on that one.
Here. Trying to Command V. Okay.
Kurt, have you been back into Manhattan at all for work?
I have not.
Okay.
Not so far.
Okay.
I did, I'll admit, since we're killing time, take advantage of the fact that New York's rule for vaccination was that you had to be a resident or work there. So I was actually vaccinated in New York State, managed to get appointments way up in Orange County.
Well, so did I. I went to Suffern.
You
With
were
my
lucky.
company,
I had to go all the way up to Chester.
Okay, yeah, Monroe, Chester, that area. Yeah. I went to Suffern, got an appointment pretty quickly, I thought, and had to provide proof of either residency or the fact that I was employed in Manhattan, which was at the time easy to do. So yeah, no, I haven't seen New York City either.
But that's the closest I've been to New York since
Orange County. Not very close.
Okay.
No, kind of 40 miles in the wrong direction.
Yeah, you went north. Are we live, Maureen?
Yes, we are.
Okay, great. Well, thank you all for coming to this meeting of the Historic Preservation Committee. It is 8:08. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Maureen, if you could read the Open Public Meetings Act.
Please take notice that in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, NJSA 10:4-6, and in consideration of Executive Order number 103 issued by Governor Murphy on March 9, 2020, declaring a state of emergency in the state of New Jersey, the Historic Preservation Commission of the Township of Wyckoff does hereby notify the public that to protect the health, safety, and welfare of our citizens, the meeting of the Historic Preservation Commission of the Township of Wyckoff, scheduled for 7 p.m. on May 11, 2021, will be conducted virtually using the Zoom video conferencing application, and it will be live streamed on the Township of Wyckoff's YouTube channel. The May 11, 2021 open public meeting of the Wyckoff Historic Preservation Commission is now in session. In accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, notice of this meeting appears on our annual schedule of meetings, was sent to the Record, the Ridgewood News, and the North Jersey Herald and News, and was posted on the Township of Wyckoff website.
Great. Thank you, Maureen. Could you have a roll call, please, of the members?
Mr. Boonstra, Mr. Zmuda,
Yes, here.
Mr. Swenson,
Here.
Ms. Constance,
Here.
Mr. Bajak,
Here,
Mr. Sestaro, Ms. Van Emberg,
Here.
Mr. Halftek, Mr. Lynch,
Here.
Ms. Mitchell, here.
Great. Thank you very much, all. Once again, I repeat, thank you for coming and making time for this meeting. Have you all had a chance to look at the April minutes that Maureen had sent out? I hope you've all received them. She did a wonderful job as always. No, I'm very thankful, Maureen. Believe me, a lot of work. I understand. So
Just one comment, if I may.
Yes.
Maureen, I sent you a couple of emails actually this afternoon late. Under new business, third paragraph, it reads territories. It should be Tories, Tories apostrophe. Those were the folks whose homes were plundered.
Oh, what is it? What is it? Say it again.
It says territories. It should, I emailed it to you. It should say Tories. As in British
Oh.
Tories, British loyalists.
Oh, the Tories.
Yeah.
Okay.
Those guys.
I didn't, when did you send me the email?
And half an hour ago.
Oh, okay. That's why I
I
didn't.
do that
see
to make sure you don't have a chance to read it in time.
Yeah. Thanks for that, Richard. I will
Perfect timing.
I appreciate it. I will make the correction first thing in the morning.
Okay,
when I
great.
get to my work emails.
Okay, well, thank you for that, Richard. I didn't notice that.
Thank you. Yeah.
So any other deletions, additions, corrections needed? If not, could I have a motion to accept these minutes?
I'll move.
So moved.
Any seconds?
Second.
Okay. Minutes I've approved with the correction that Richard has noted, please.
Who made the motion?
I think Pat
Pat
beat
did.
me.
Pat
Yeah.
and Richard?
I think it was Beth then.
Beth? Okay. I heard a few voices.
Everybody
signed
did.
in at once.
Uh-oh, I'm hearing voices.
Just don't do what they say.
Thank you.
Okay, moving along, it was going to be Pat and Joe, but Joe's not with us. So Pat, I'm afraid it's your show solo.
Okay, so we've been working on the article for 101 Wyckoff Avenue. And so I have gone to research in the archives in the Ridgewood Library as well as the Wyckoff Library. And so I drafted the article up describing the home and the history of the home. And Joe is adding in some of the architectural elements to it. And then I sent the article to Richard for him to take a look, and he was also there. So for any additions that he wanted to put into the article, and then also for any editing, because he did a great job editing the piece that we had in the Wyckoff Pat.
I'm an expert with commas. I did note one thing. Your research was great. It noticed a Dutch oven. It's actually called a Dutch beehive oven.
Okay.
And that's the kind you get to from the outside of the house. There's one in existence now if you go down to Fairlawn on River Road. Forget quite the name of the place. It's Farm and Forge. And so they have a year-round garden there, monarch butterfly garden, and all sorts of other things, plus the historic home itself.
Is that the Garrison Forge?
Say it again?
Garrison Forge.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so you can add that. Okay, so we're working on that and finishing it up. Also, the photographer took some great pictures
Oh, good.
of the house, and that was Deneen Agello. It's Augello, and she took about 122 pictures. So she has everything from, architectural details of the floors and the joints and different things like that, but also just a view, lots of views of the exterior of the house as well as the interior. So she really did a great job. And so I spoke to Lynn Brueggemann about getting it into the Wyckoff Living, and I wanted to see what our timeline was. And so she said she needs the completed article with only 3 photos out of all of those. So we have some angst to pick out the right ones, but she needs it by May 20th. So it's a week from tomorrow. Or is it tomorrow? Or
No, Thursday.
Week from
Thursday.
Yeah, week from
so
Thursday.
week from Thursday. And we had promised the Carols that they could review the article before it goes in. So we're on a pretty tight timeline right now to get it down to the wire and make it for that May 20th timeline, which would get us into the July issue of Wyckoff Living. Okay, so that's
A great write-up, Pat. Thank you.
yeah. And so I think the last thing on that is that Joe's already started working on the next house that we would look at. And so he's already made a contact previously with the owner, which I believe is Mr. Hartker, for 131 Godwin Avenue.
Yeah.
And so we were thinking that since he's already made that contact, we would go ahead and try to pursue that and see if we could get into the home, fairly soon so that we could get started on it.
Yeah, 'cause that was one of the original homes we were going to try to get in, because I know they've done extensive renovation, but period renovation, not just renovation.
Okay.
They've gone the distance. The copper gutters, copper flashing, real single cedar shake siding and roofing, etc. And he had a antique business, I believe, in the garage.
Ah, okay.
Thoroughly renovated the garage, but he's kept all his antiques, I understand.
Okay.
So you might have.
Yeah, apparently he does a lot of traveling, so it might be a bit of a trick to try to get there when he's
Okay.
available and we can get in the house. But that's the next one that Joe's going to be working on.
Oh, it's a beautiful home in there. Okay, great. So you've got a May 20th deadline to kind of push this stuff through.
Yes, so we're pretty tight on that. The other thing is that I have contacted the editor of 201 magazine. I was working through the history editor previously, and he wasn't quite sure that it was exactly what their publication might be looking for, but
Right.
he suggested that I speak to the editor in chief, and he seems a bit more interested. And so he asked me for a picture of the home, and so he was, interested in pursuing it a little further. He's asked for some additional photos from the photo shoot that we had, and then I can certainly, when we get to it, share the article with him.
Oh, great. Okay.
That's
Is the
great.
photographer going to make all the photos available to the homeowner as far as like a courtesy, just give them all the photos, or is she going to retain rights to all the photos she took?
My understanding was that she was going to give them to the homeowners,
Okay.
but Joe had more conversation with her for sure,
Okay.
so we would want to check with him and make sure.
Because I know that homeowner was very enthusiastic to see the home, in the magazine or in whatever article we were going to write. So I think it's a courtesy if they took that many beautiful photos and they were, and the homeowner wanted to find out about their home. It'd be nice to have that many photos of your home professionally done.
Yeah, they really came up very well. So yeah.
Okay. Well, it's just a question for the future for Joe, maybe to ask the photographer then.
Mhm.
Okay, great. Thank you. Anything else?
No, I think that's it.
Okay. I'm gonna jump on your articles and promotion here. I had talked to Nancy Brown in Town Hall, who is the gatekeeper of the town website and the town e-news that goes out once a week, on at least mentioning the 14 homes that are currently on the National Register. She had mentioned talking to Rudy. I had mentioned it to Rudy. I did not hear anything back yet. I was hoping to talk with him tonight, but I will re-ask Rudy what his thoughts are on that. It was just going to be some sort of a quick little mention in the town website that we currently have 14 homes on the National Registry. And maybe give a slight explanation on what the National Registry is, how it formed, maybe, et cetera. Because, once again, most people figure if they see that blue plate on the house, oh, it's protected, it's saved, it's a national treasure. Well, not really, as we know, that blue plate offers no protection. So I was going to talk to Rudy. I'm going to have to make a note to call Rudy not after this meeting, but later this week, and just see what his thoughts are, because the township committee, once again, has to approve anything that goes on the website or on the e-news once a week, email out to all residents. So I just thought it'd be something nice to have. I mean, they put in the thing that you and Joe had done, Pat, saying, hey, did you know we had a historical preservation committee in town? Which was nice. So if we can get these 14 houses there, sort of kind of whet their appetite, so to speak, and on the heels of that, have your article appear in various publications and, with pictures, I think it'd be a good little traction getter, hopefully, for the local historical preservation committee. So
yeah, that'd be great.
I will talk to Rudy about that then. Okay.
May I also ask if it would be possible for the Wyckoff Historical Society to get pictures that were taken of the house and inside the house?
Okay. Yeah, I don't see why not.
Yeah, because once again, these homes are private residents. We're lucky enough to get inside of them. You seem to have gotten full access.
Yes.
Oh, from top to bottom, yeah,
Right.
for sure.
Exactly. That's what I mean, it's, you know, it's a luxury to have that kind of access to a historic home that's in a private resident's hand.
Mm.
You know, occasionally when they go up for sale, you can run in during the open house and take a bunch of pictures when they're not really looking at you. Or like the house on Franklin that I had gone into, they were having an estate sale. So I bought one or two things and then mentioned if they didn't mind if I walked around the house and took pictures. So they didn't mind.
Okay.
But that was the only way in the house at the time. So, okay, great. Well, thanks a lot, Pat. Appreciate it. And I'll let Joe know, you know, we appreciate his help also.
Is there a fee for the photographer to be taking the pictures of all these homes?
I think for this one, she donated her time and you know, her work,
Hmm.
but we'd have to check for sure with Joe to make sure that there wasn't anything else. But my understanding was that she was doing it for free.
Oh, great. Even better.
So I don't know if that's something that she's willing to continue, and would she go to the next house and
We'll have to
keep
find
it up
out.
with us, or yeah. Because I thought he did mention at one point he had contacted some other photographers, but there was a fee involved. And so
Mhm.
I think it seems to me we had discussed that previously.
Yeah, it was just the one house as far as I knew. I wasn't sure if Joe broached it as far as a ongoing relationship for free.
Hmm.
Because
Yeah.
you know, once again, it's a time issue and it's a you know, professional service
Oh,
issue.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay. I mean, if we have to, you know, figure out a way to raise funds, we'll figure out a way to raise funds.
Hmm.
But, you know, the photos do make a big difference, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Black and white descriptions are one thing. Photographs, as anyone will tell you, you know, they speak the world to what you're looking at.
Mm.
You know,
Yeah.
as all of us know, in one way, shape, or a form, a photograph has helped. You know, so that's a big deal. Okay, great. Well, thanks a lot, Pat. I appreciate it. I'll tell Joe that also. Moving on to my little blurb here. I had sent out to everyone, hopefully you got it in time. I think I sent it yesterday. I was backed up with work for the past few days and I realized I hadn't sent it out. That's the first page. It is a mock-up of what I believe would quote unquote qualify for what we would need to produce for any home that we would like to consider for historic status. It is sort of a merger of a bunch of other documents that are available online and through different sources. The base form is something I have sent out previously, which I can send out again. And also that building attachment. These are all from the state of New Jersey for their historical preservation consideration. Angela Tingley, I'm not sure I'm pronouncing her last name correctly, who I know Richard's spoken with many times. You know, it's been very helpful about this. Once again, as we all know, there is no one size fits all for any of the preservation commissions here in New Jersey. It's kind of every man for himself. Unfortunately, there was no form available that would qualify for what we needed due to our ordinance. Andrea had said, this form looks like it works fine. If you've had a chance to read through it, it's definitely not some sort of a reference material I'm proud of, but it gets the job done when it comes to what we needed to do. Just as a bit of an aside here, on the last page, I included a floor plan that came from the state of New Jersey. You'll notice it has a beehive oven in the cellar. So to Richard's point, beehive ovens were around. There's one in this house at 480 Sycamac. The house itself, I had driven by multiple times before this, looked at it, took the picture you guys saw there. I think it's almost the exact same picture because I stood in the same place Google Earth car may have stood when they went by. So I think I have the exact same picture Google Earth has on the front. It's an easy document to fill out. It is not very in-depth. It is not very involved. I'm always of the opinion, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And if it doesn't need to be complicated, don't complicate it. So, you know, in that case, this document would be something we could utilize as far as the 14 homes, this being one of them. I just picked it randomly for our consideration to put before the town, to put on the master plan here in Wyckoff for historical preservation. Please take, I realize I didn't give you this in time to look at. Look at it. There's a lot of blanks there on purpose because the document is not a document that towns use. It is a document the state uses. The blanks can stay there. There's nothing wrong with having blank spaces on the document. Take a look at it. Look at it in light of the ordinance 1876, which is the one that explains what are our parameters for homes to be considered. If we feel this mock-up qualifies, I would like to go forward with the other 13 houses, kind of split them up, give everybody 2 maybe if you're happy with that, and just take our time. You have to do a little research. You've got to go online. I can go through how I did it using different websites. It's once you get the 3 or 4 websites down, that's pretty much all you need. I mean, if you want to do more involved research, you can actually go to ancestry.com if you have a subscription, and you can really delve into the ownership of the house. And you can go back in time to find out who really did own the house. I found out this was the home that has the tenant home moved from Cloister behind it. It was never really a slave home. That label got on it from the residents of Cloister somehow, who didn't want it and kicked it out. And the Wyckoff resident, was the one. I found the article. I was working on it. There's the house there. You can barely see it.
Oh, wow.
It's a separate tax lot. It's behind the home I sent at 480 Sycamac, but it's a separate tax lot in Wyckoff. It is not, it at one time was the continuous tax lot of that one home. Many years ago, they broke it up, and the current residents, Gregory and Melanie Harold, own it now. And there's a whole article I found. You can't really see it, but that's the house when it was moved.
Wow.
Back in the early 70s. And it, goes into a pretty good explanation on how it got that, misnomer of being a slave home. It was most likely a sharecropper's home or a tenement home for workers in the fields back in the farm days. It was not a slave home, but it was interesting to read that.
Did they indicate whether it would have been a black family to live there?
That part I don't know. Could have been.
Because many times slaves were, quote, freed, but they became sharecroppers and were trapped.
Could very well have been. The one article I did find, and there weren't as many articles as I thought. I was quite shocked. I thought there would have been much more local coverage at the time. There was very little local coverage at the time. I guess people moved houses all the time back then, and that didn't make the news. So, but it was very, very interesting and very enlightening. And they called it the Vanderbeek Slave House is the official title on the Bergen County records to this day, even though it's got no real connection to slave ownership or slave tenements. So, but take a look at the document I sent, 3 or 4 pages. Don't look at it as far as clarity of, what the numbers mean or everything. Pretty much just look at it, and in light of the ordinance, 1876, you can download it on the town website. 120, chapter 123, spot 3 is where it lists our mandate on what homes would qualify. And it's a very open, kind of a very large, all-encompassing ordinance. We don't have many parameters needed. Once again, these are the 14 homes we hope won't have a problem with the residents. Past these 14, we may have to be a little more particular on which homes we pick. I'm not sure. Once again, people live in these old homes and maybe they don't want to be historically designated.
Sure.
We'll kind of cross that bridge when we get to it. I want to get these 14 in first and foremost. And it's sort of this will be our virgin attempt to see how it works. I mentioned last meeting, I talked to Bob Fortunato, on the planning board. He is the first stop. I don't suspect there'll be any problem, and nor will I suspect there'll be any problem with the township committee as far as these homes being accepted into our master plan. Because once they are in the master plan, it kind of sets them aside and doesn't allow much exterior alteration, which a lot of people like to do when they buy homes with large pieces of land that aren't that very, pleasant as far as today's, creature comforts go. So look at that. By the next meeting, give me your thoughts, either email or on this meeting. Let me know what you think. If we like the way it was put together, or we like the way its format is, and we believe it qualifies, I will dole out the other 14 or 13, and we'll all hit them from different angles, so to speak, and see how that works. Okay.
Good.
Trying to get to my list here to make sure I don't miss anything. Now, Rudy was also going to be here for the next topic, which was the certified local government discussion, and Joe H. was going to be here. Once again, they left us in the lurch. But because I have watched the township committee meetings on Zoom, thankfully, I can see what's going on. Rudy did mention to the township committee, that we had debated becoming certified as a local government organization via the state in order to help release funds and also to give us more availability of resources. Being a CLG opens up a whole plethora of state resources to different governmental bodies here in New Jersey and different organizations, historic preservation being one of them. Rudy had two comments. I spoke with him by phone. One was he wanted to know if it cost anything. And the answer is it doesn't cost a dime.
Good.
It's free.
I thought it was $100. No.
I went back to read. Once again, I don't rely on my current memory. I go back and read the thing again. I read it again, didn't see a word, and actually emailed the head of the Historical Preservation Society or organization for the state of New Jersey and asked that pointed question, does it cost anything? And her answer was no, it's free. And I said,
and it must be to renew it because
that might be, I didn't go that far. I just went through the initial application. What did it cost? What were the parameters on getting it, et cetera. And the biggest thing for Rudy was the township wanted to know would it cost anything? And I said, report back. It doesn't cost a dime.
Okay.
Next question was, how much work do they have to do? And I said, pretty much nothing. It's incumbent upon us to fill out the form. It's incumbent upon the planning board, which I will have to talk to Bob Fortunato, the president of the planning board, to see, if he's willing to allocate resources or people if need be. I know I've sent it out before, the CLG document to everyone, probably a year ago by now. You can go on the state website. Like I said, once again, you get familiar with the different websites. You only need 3 or 4 of them. 98% of the information we need for our committee is on these 3 or 4 websites. If you go on, or even just Google CLG in New Jersey, up will pop 1 or 2 websites on exactly how you go about becoming a CLG. It is a bit of work. You got to dot your I's, cross your T's, answer a bunch of questions. I know Kurt had brought up the fact that we all have to supply resumes on what our fortes are to be on this committee, to which we may have to embellish some of our, we may have to embellish.
You're on YouTube, Doug.
Oh, not anymore. Oops. Was that just me?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, you know what it was? I've been having trouble with the internet here. Sorry.
We can hear you.
I'll take that as a plus then. Seeing me is a good thing. I'll take that as a plus. Yeah, I think Verizon, Fios or whatever has been playing around with us here for a while. We've had trouble. But anyway, I will relook at the CLG as far as what it entails. Joe H. had already said he'd be more than happy to take it on, willing to find people to help him with it. It may take the majority of us to do it. I'm going to let him kind of, ask the questions he needs to ask and get the people he needs to get to do this. So I'll wait for him to, get back to us to what he needs to do it. It will be a lengthy procedure. This is not going to happen overnight. If you go back, after this meeting, if I can find the document, I can send it out to everyone just to have to look at. It's pretty lengthy, and it's a lot of do's and don'ts and cross your T's, dot your I's kind of a thing. But once again, take your time and we'll read through it and fill it out appropriately, because I do think it opens up a lot for us. I think we'd be kind of shooting ourselves in the foot, so to speak, if we didn't at least apply or try to get this. And I know Richard can speak to the fact that grants make a big difference. When you're small organizations like ours, very underfunded at the moment, so it can't but help us to get money, if we can get the CLG and then open up some funding for us. So I'll leave that up to Joe and work with him on that. Any comments on that issue?
Just Doug, just looking back on my notes, it came up when I spoke to Ann Powley from
Malwa. Yeah.
And she was saying the $100 a year was for the National Association of Preservation
Yes.
Commission.
Bingo. Okay, that sounds familiar now. Yes, exactly. Okay. Yeah, but I mean, the CLG itself is free, which
Yeah,
is nice.
that's true.
And evidently there's no renewal either, fee. And I think it's every 5 years you have to renew, or your township committee has to renew you, I think it is. But we'll cross that bridge in 5 years, God willing. Okay. No other discussion on the CLG then. Is anybody called in, Maureen, or is there anybody online?
I didn't see anyone registered. No attendees.
Oh, darn. So Christina was our first and only, huh? Okay, not seeing anyone then. We will close the public session, having not even opened it.
Open to the public and closed to the public.
Great, Maureen. Thank you. Other business. I know Richard had a few things he wanted to say / ask. So Richard, you have the floor.
I got a call from Ray Steele representing the Rotary.
Ah.
And he asked if I'd be willing to give a talk on Union Cemetery, about 20 minutes or so at one of their meetings, which is Thursday morning at 7:30. And I said, yes, I'd consider that. I'd do it. They gave us a gift of $500.
I guess we are better than underfunded now.
Yes.
Wow.
So
That's amazing,
I
Richard.
put together
Thank you.
the real thought, which is we're trying to get publicity. Now, there are about 20 people attending this meeting, but it's a way to get the word out that, hey, the Wyckoff Historic Preservation Commission exists. This is what we are. This is what we do. This is where we're going. And if someone might want to talk, they might be inclined to make a donation. At the end of my talk, they voted. So it could have been zero. It could have been, $20,000. I came in at 500.
You came away with more than you got there with. So
Yes.
that's a plus.
That's
But it's
great.
a good group, very friendly. The first 15 or 20 minutes was, how are you doing, Charlie? Well, Beth, I'm doing great. How the kids, and sort of went on from there.
Great. Where the meetings still used to be held at the Brick House, I think.
They're all virtual now.
Oh, virtual. Sorry. Okay.
They
So
had
you
them at the
had
Brick House.
You did the talk already, Richard?
Yes,
Okay. So when was that?
April 22nd. I squeezed it in before my surgery.
Oh,
Yeah.
boy.
Great, Richard. Thank you. That's wonderful.
That's great.
Yeah, it is.
And in fact, they wanted it to be for a purpose. The Wyckoff Historical Society is putting a roadside marker up at Union Cemetery, and that's going to cost about $3,000. So they said, okay, it'll be for that.
Okay. That's great, Richard.
Yeah.
Good.
Wonderful.
Excellent.
Now, are you planning on doing a walking tour again of Union Cemetery this year, or are you still going to be with COVID?
COVID allowing, we'd be pleased to do one in the fall. The last one was in October.
Mhm.
We now have our virtual tours,
Right.
whereby
I've
you
done
can
that.
do a QR code. We have 6 of them set up there. Another one for the old barber shop at Zabriskie Pond. We have people researching different individuals buried there to expand the whole thing. So the answer is yes, hopefully, certainly next year. And in the meantime, you can go to our website and find out how to do a virtual tour, or actually walk through Union Cemetery. There are 6 placards there, and you click on each one and you get about 3 minutes worth of verbiage.
Yeah.
Great.
That's
That's
great.
good.
Richard, are there any projects at Union Cemetery that need extra hands? I have a bunch of Girl Scouts very interested in Union Cemetery as a Silver Award project.
Wonderful question. Thank you so much, Beth. 2 things. We can always use help with a cleanup.
Okay.
Okay. Secondly, it's come to our attention that we can qualify as an official arboretum.
Oh, great.
And to do that, we have to identify at least 25 trees and woody shrubs
Okay.
that are on site. One of our board members, Brian Brunch, happens to be an arborist with Save a Tree and is anxious to lead the charge. I think it'd be a great Girl Scout Gold Award project. If you've got a candidate, we can start yesterday.
I've got at least 3 girls that their ears perked up with a maybe look at something at the cemetery you can do for your Silver Award. And they went, oh, we all want to work in the cemetery.
Okay,
I have a couple creepy Girl Scouts.
that would be terrific.
They've taken the goth thing to a whole new level.
Yeah.
They're very interested in doing a project with Union Cemetery.
Yeah,
And a meeting.
that'd be terrific. And again,
Again.
many hands make light work.
Absolutely.
We found out that the fence that goes around the cemetery.
Small group project.
Say it
Silver
again?
Award is a small group or individual project for 8th grade girls.
Yes. We found out the cemetery is actually larger than the area that's fenced in.
Okay.
That means that we inherit a stone wall and a bunch of trees that are falling down we have to pay to take down, but that's how it goes.
Interesting. Okay. Well, you guys have done a wonderful work with that cemetery. I can remember going in that 20 or 30 years ago and, literally getting caught in the brambles and the poison ivy and everything
Yes.
else,
Yeah.
Because we used to go in every year and, be up to your knees before you got past
Yeah.
June.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We managed to keep it under control, so it's been good.
Great.
It's the same thing as this group. We got about a dozen very dedicated people.
Yeah. You've done a lot of
And,
work.
different people take on different things and a bunch of skills that are varied, and everybody likes each other.
Like this group.
Yes.
Well, that's great, Richard. Okay. Anybody else? Any other comments or business they'd like to discuss?
I have one.
I
piece-
wanted to ask you,
Go ahead,
the
Steve.
house that you photographed, did they go into the barn? Is that barn?
No.
significant?
No, we didn't do anything in the barn.
It's interesting. It's a high barn. I guess it has a loft.
Yeah, no, we didn't.
Did someone say the barn's not all that old?
I don't remember that.
I
No.
think Joe knows that.
Oh, okay. Joe might then. I know nothing about the barn. Is a large barn though. To Steve's
Yeah.
point. It's a very large. Looks like fully functioning barn at one time.
Yes.
Hay loft. To your point about the loft, it most likely had a hay loft in it. And that's the beauty of finding old maps, which you can get in Ridgewood or online. You get the old maps with the old property delineations, and you're shocked at how much land a house like that probably had. Because today we see it, and we just can't comprehend that they had 50 acres of land there.
Yeah.
You're shocked and dumbfounded simultaneously that these homes had, multitude, because they were all farms.
Yeah, Zabriskie started with 550 acres.
Right.
Wow.
Okay. There's Zabriskie, 550 acres from its present location outward, radiating outward.
Yes.
That's a lot of land.
Yeah.
They would have been billionaires if they didn't sell it.
Yeah.
That's always the case. Okay.
Yeah, I'm just thinking too on the Wyckoff, 101 Wyckoff Avenue. I was also approached by Grant Hansen, who has a company called Relic Hunters.
Right.
And so they had done some work on the property with a metal detector and finding different things. And so he sent me some additional photos of things that they found, like an old, not a cannonball, but like a
Musket. Musket ball.
musket ball.
Yeah,
Yeah.
musket balls are the ones they find a lot of, the little guys.
And they
Yeah.
had like pieces of pewter spoons and
Mhm.
and buckles from shoes and coins and different things. So he's quite anxious to also be part of the article and to have some of his pictures incorporated in there, and also a little plug for his business.
That's
So
acceptable for free service.
yeah.
Same thing with the photographer.
What is his name, that gentleman?
Grant Hansen, Hansen.
Okay.
And his company is Relic Hunters.
Got it. Thank you.
Well, once again, with the private ownership, he would not have been allowed on that property had it not been for, Joe, Pat, Richard, opening up the door, so to speak, and the homeowner accepting it to let him in.
Yeah, he had been there, previously with
Okay.
working with the homeowners.
Okay.
And so he did have some things from there, and then he had some additional things that he sent pictures that he found
Mhm.
on the property.
Great. Okay. Anything else, anybody?
I have one thing, just happy to announce that if you go on the Wyckoff website and look up the Historic Preservation Commission, you will see that we now have a Wyckoff historic home. And hold on.
I'm going to look.
Can you-
Oh, okay.
This
That's
is-
great.
this is the photo. This actually, Pat took this photo.
Gorgeous. Oh, I see it. Yep, there it is. When did that get posted, Maureen?
Yesterday.
I was going to say that wasn't there a day or two ago.
Yeah, it
Great.
just went up yesterday.
Very
So
nice.
there you go.
Gorgeous.
Oh, perfect. Yeah. So
No, and everything.
Chris will be thrilled too.
So we have made Steven Zmuda very
Yeah,
happy.
thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yay.
Oh, that's great. Beautiful.
Maureen for taking care of that.
You're
That's-
welcome.
That's a gorgeous picture. Great idea, Maureen. Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's a great idea. Okay. Anyone else? Okay, not hearing anyone, and we have no other business. Everything's been attended to. I thank you all once again, as always, for all you've done and will continue to do, because, it's not it's not the kind of job where it's one and done, I don't think. We've got a road before us, but once again, taking it with people you get along with is an easy walk then. So thank you. Can I have a motion to close this meeting, please?
I'll
We
move
want to
to
keep
close.
going.
Nobody wanted to.
We want to keep going for a couple more hours.
Yeah.
Move to close the meeting.
Thank you, Beth.
I'll
A second on
second
Beth. Kurt has seconded. Thank you. Okay, guys, great. Well, thank you very much. Once
Thank you.
again, I appreciate all you've done and
Thanks,
continue to do. Keep looking for historic homes.
Okay.
Yep.
Great, guys. Have a great
Bye.
evening, and we'll be in touch.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Bye.
Good night now.
Good night,
Thank you
Bye,
all.
all.
Have a good evening.